Some of you are hurting. Some of you are in the same mess that you've been in, and nobody really knows how long. You're not even sure how long. Maybe it's been all your life. But you're hurting, and you want to find a way out of that hurt. Some of you have cut yourself, hit yourself, maybe even attempted to kill yourself. And you might even have been in the hospital and just gotten out. But the fact is that you're dealing with some kind of feeling of just absolute desperation. You're feeling like maybe you're the only one, but believe me, you're not the only one. Maybe you feel hopeless. Maybe you feel lonely. And you say, well, I'm lonely because I don't have friends. I don't have anyone around me. But you see, being alone is not the same as feeling lonely. You can be alone and not have loneliness. You can be in that same situation that you're in right now, but you can feel differently about it. And you might be saying, no, you don't understand. You don't understand what's going on and what I feel. Okay, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. I want you to trust me, even if it's only for the length of this video. Okay, could you just trust me? And I'm going to tell you some things that are true. Now, you may say those things aren't true. If that's the case, you're not going to change. And this video is not going to help you at all. But I'm asking you, just for the few minutes that you watch this video, could you please just trust me? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. The first truth that I want to share with you is, I love you unconditionally, regardless of what you've done. Now, you might be thinking, who is this random guy on the internet who's saying that he loves me? He can't possibly love me. Okay? Video's not going to help you. Pardon me. But if you trust me when I say, I love you, and there's a reason I'll get to later why I love you, but if you can trust me, I'm going to tell you the truth, and I want you to start thinking about the fact that I say I love you. Now let's understand where our feelings come from. Okay? Can you stick with me? Whatever you are feeling is a result of what has been built into your heart. And what has been built into your heart comes from what you see, and that creates an image, and it goes into your mind. And when that image goes into your mind, it's like a faucet that's turned on. And that faucet runs down, and it starts to fill up your heart until your heart is full of whatever it is that you're thinking about. And remember, you're thinking about something that you saw that created an image. And when that image goes into your mind, it turns on a faucet, and whatever that image is, it fills up your heart. So if you're hurting yourself, if you've tried to kill yourself, if you hate yourself, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever kind of pain, if you feel lonely, if you feel unacceptable, if you feel like you're completely unforgivable for the things that you've done in life, it's because your heart has gotten full from what has been put in your mind. And what has been put in your mind is an image that you see with your eyes. And the reason I'm explaining this to you is, if you feel bad and you cannot stand to take another day, you don't know how you're going to make it through this day. You don't know how you're going to make it through the next hour with what you're feeling. I am telling you, what you are feeling can be changed if you change the way you think. And the only way you change the way you think is to see something differently and put that image in your mind. And I'm asking you to believe me when I say, I love you and there is a way out of this. Because see, that's the first image, that if you take that image and you put it in your mind, and instead of saying, random guy on the internet, what does he know? Okay. But if you take that image, even though I'm not in the same room with you, and you put it in your mind and you say, maybe he does love me. The question that's going to come up is, why does he love me? And we're going to get into that. But let's go into how you're feeling right now. How you're feeling right now, if you focus on that instead of focusing on the fact that I said, I love you. Because see, when you focus on me saying, I love you, it takes away that focus that you feel so badly about whatever you're feeling badly about. It's kind of like you're walking along a path outside, and all of a sudden you lose your footing. And down the hill, this steep hill you go. And at the bottom is this mud hole. And that mud hole is also filled with sewage running into it. And you fall and you are covered head to toe with mud and sewage. That's how you feel now when you have these terrible feelings. If you stay in that mud hole, if you keep saying, look at this sewage, it's all over me. Okay, if you stay there and you keep thinking about it, you're not going to change anything. Pardon me. What you have to do is you have to get out of that mud hole. And the way you do that is not saying, I'm trying not to feel what I feel. I'm saying, instead of feeling what you feel, start seeing the image of me saying, I love you regardless of what you've done. I love you unconditionally. And that's your first step, because that cleans off all the muck. And instead of thinking about all the terrible things that you feel, you now focus on what I said when I say, I love you. And as I said, you're thinking, why does this random guy say he loves me unconditionally? It's because I found the answer to what you're dealing with. And the answer is in your Creator, the one who created you, that he loves you and he has forgiven you of anything that you might have done that you think you've fallen short. Now, you might be thinking, instead of that I love you, which I told you, you need to think that I love you. You might be thinking, I've heard this stuff about God. I've heard religion. I've heard, church. I've been to church. I go to church. Maybe I've never been to church. Maybe you don't go to church. Maybe you think, that stuff about God, there's so many rules and regulations. No, okay? You're not doing what I told you to do. Focus on the fact that I love you and really seriously think, why would I love you? It's because I experienced love, because I found out God loves me unconditionally and he has forgiven me. And you can feel the same way, because I took that, even though God's not here. Do you see God behind me? If you do, let me know. Okay. Do you see God behind me? How do I know that God loves me? His word tells me. Jesus came, and his word says that Jesus came. Okay. I took that. I looked at that. I put an image in my head, and I thought about, what if God really does love me? I mean, I hate myself. And that's what I feel, because that's what was in my heart. But what if God really does love me unconditionally, and he really has forgiven me? And I started thinking about that, and that turned the faucet on in my head, and that started running down, and it started filling up my heart. And those feelings where I hated myself and where I was down on myself, they start to go away. And when I start to feel like I'm not acceptable, like I've done something that can't be forgiven, or like nobody really loves me, I have to turn that faucet back on. I have to say, no, that I've got the wrong faucet on up there. I'm thinking about something But when you think about the fact God loves you and he's already forgiven you, and all you have to do is receive it. And in the description, I put some pointers that'll help you out. But I don't care what you're facing. I don't care how bad you feel. I don't care what you've done or what you think is unforgivable. And let me use this as an example. Guys, listen up for a minute. Do you have a lust problem? Okay, you're probably thinking, if I have a lust problem, that there's a problem with my equipment and I need to get my equipment in check. No, your equipment works fine. You know where your lust problem is? It's right here in your heart. And you know why it's in your heart? It's because you've been thinking things. And why have you been thinking them? Because you put an image in your eyes. Whatever you see, whatever you think about, you put that image, and that image goes into your head. It turns on a faucet of whatever it is that image is. And it starts to fill up your heart, and your heart fills up, and you suddenly have a lust problem. And then you're standing there trying to control the equipment, and you can't do that because the equipment works fine. Your problem is what's in your heart. And what's in your heart comes from what you see, and that image goes into your head, and that image is like a faucet, turns on the faucet, starts to go down and fills up your heart. If you have a lust problem, it's not your equipment. It's what you're looking at. It's what the image, it's the things that you're thinking about that are filling up your heart, and then your heart becomes full of lust, and that's what you're dealing with. Are you feeling like you're worthless, like you hate yourself? It's because of what you're looking at. You're taking your eyes off the fact that I told you two truths that I want you to think about. God loves you unconditionally, and God has forgiven you. And if you can't reach that, you start thinking about what I said, that I love you unconditionally. If that's all you can get to today, do it. Now, like I said, I put some stuff in the description. You can go to it. There's some pointers in there. There's some notes. There's some links that will help you with this. But if you want to get out of the way you feel, if you want to change how you feel, nothing changes till something changes. Okay? And what you have to do is stop focusing on that mud hole and sewage of whatever that you're feeling, and you hate it and you don't want to feel this, but you just keep thinking about it. You just keep staying in that mud hole. Get out of the mud hole. Get into some new thinking. Your new thinking, I gave you 3 things. I love you unconditionally. God loves you unconditionally. You don't believe it? Trust me. Okay? God loves you unconditionally. God has forgiven you regardless of what you've done. So I love you, God loves you, and you are forgiven. That's your new thinking. That's your image. You need to take that image and put it in your mind, turn on that faucet, and think about it until you start to feel those things, because your heart has filled up and it has changed what's going on inside of you. Check the description. Don't get negative. Stay positive. Think about the fact I love you, God loves you unconditionally, and you're forgiven.